most satisfying thing I find about creating content for a sales funnel is there's a reward at the end of it, which is your sales conversions. In today's class, it's all about mapping and crafting your content with your sales funnel using a time-tested 4-step content marketing formula. This formula will help you to create magnetic content that converts leads into paying customers. Good day, I'm Liz and I'm a digital engagement expert and CEO of a creative digital transformation agency based in London called Digital Matchbox. We work with clients from all backgrounds and industries. So it's from small businesses, governments, charities, and Fortune 500 companies to map and craft their content to fill sales funnels. In this class, you will discover the easy and time-saving content marketing formula you need to create content that gets leads and sales. You will learn how to use all the tools and resources you need to construct the ultimate content for your sales funnel. And lastly, you'll understand what AIDA is and how it can help create meaningful and conversion-focused content. Because I'm naturally a curious person, I like to dive deep into the sales funnel and discover what makes someone tick or how we can cleverly use a tool to make this process more efficient. In my experience, lots of companies don't know how content marketing comes together, and they ask questions like, how many blog posts should I write? What should I be writing about? Will my audience find this useful? Or do I really need to write white papers and ebooks? The one major change that you'll notice once you've taken this class is you will no longer be second-guessing yourself or getting overwhelmed when you start mapping out your content. I hope by the end of this class that you'll have a clearer outlook on your customer's journey and be able to meet their needs with relevant content when and where they need it. In the class project, you'll be creating the Mapping Your Content Mind Map. So at the end of this class, don't forget to share your mind map in the project gallery so I can provide you with some useful feedback. I'll also be available to answer any questions you might have in the discussion section, so don't be shy. I'll be waiting to see all your questions. So if you're ready, let's get started. Did you know that 87% of shoppers now begin their search on digital channels? So having the right content is really key to getting their attention. No matter what it is you're trying to sell on the web, creating the perfectly timed and purposeful pieces of content, which customers considered high value, is key to creating a lot of conversions. Research also tells us that it takes about 5 touches to sell to someone. A content marketing funnel creates a series of escalating steps, with each one increasing engagement and building your fan base further. This makes content perfectly positioned in sales funnels. The number one way to create conversion-friendly content is to deliver it through a series of escalating steps. This is the most systematic way to build trust, to build a relationship, and to encourage people to want your product before making a sale. And it is incredibly powerful when done well. The content marketing formula that I will teach you today is enough to take someone from being completely unaware of your brand to being familiar enough with you that they are willing to put their money and their trust into your products. So now it's time to take action. Write down your next product to be launched. Remember that this could be a service or an actual item that you're selling. This product or service will be the focus for the rest of your learning activities in this class. The AIDA or AIDA model, which is also known as the conversion funnel, is a customer journey that takes them through the buying process from awareness to purchase. It's a cognitive model that breaks down the process of buying into 4 different stages. The first one is awareness, followed by interest, desire, and action. So why is something like AIDA even needed? In a perfect world, every salesman would like to have a DMC, a deep, meaningful conversation with the prospect. That way, all the relevant information could be communicated simultaneously. But in the real world, that's not really possible, right? I mean, there has to be a sequence. AIDA is a time-tested method in structuring all this information. It's been used since the late 19th century. It has been reviewed and modified multiple times over the years, both in marketing and in public relations. In theory, you're supposed to sell the benefits, but if the prospect doesn't know anything about the product or service, then you also need to describe it. It's also important to differentiate between your product from what your competitors are offering. And then you want to create some urgency around finding out more, or even better, buying it today. So what happens in each AIDA stage? The first stage is awareness. This is where you create content that gets your prospects' attention, because they won't hear anything else if they're not listening in the first place. The next stage is interest. Once people are aware, then you can deepen their interest with relevant content. This often involves placing a person in your ad or marketing copy who has a need or problem your prospects will identify with. The next stage is desire. This third step is to generate content that sparks desire. You can arouse desire by explaining the benefits in an aspirational way. For example, for a health product, it can say, "Do you want to feel better? Our product has 3 clinically proven ingredients." Or for a financial product, you can say, "Need money fast? We approve your credit application in 6 seconds." Finally, in this last stage, there's the call to action. This can vary from an exclusive offer to creating an urgency that prospects need to hurry because supplies are limited. What matters is that you make it explicit and tell your prospects exactly what you want them to do. Here's a case study showing how an award-winning hairdressing company, Francesco Group, used the model to launch their new salon. The first bit is the awareness stage, and this is all about getting attention. So what they did was they ran a PR campaign for about 4 months prior to the launch, and they promoted awards, stylists, qualifications, and so on. And this reinforced with digital marketing campaign to targeted customer groups. And the next stage is all about getting interest. So what they did was they executed a direct mail campaign to offer a free consultation on haircut and finish. And they used research to support this because they found that females are loyal if the offer is compelling. Once they've gotten people's interest, they wanted to intrigue and arouse desire. Close to the opening of the new salon, they ran exclusive local launch events, which were advertised through local press and social media. This created that local buzz for people wanting an invite, and they were excited to see the new salon. The last step was action. The way they encouraged action was they had clear call to actions where they positioned it on their Facebook page with the call to reserve and their website with the call to book. They also used local advertising to get people to call in to receive a discount or the offer. So as you can see here, that all those steps kind of nicely came together to create this kind of escalating steps where people first get aware, and then you get people interested, and then you spark their desire, and last but not least, you encourage them to take action. So next I want to share with you a simple example of how a company selling an automation app for small businesses can run a simple AIDA campaign using Facebook advertising. So in this campaign, as you can see here, we have the awareness stage. And on this stage, it's very simple. The way you can start this is you just run a page like campaign. So basically you just get, say, people who you want to target, you get them to like your page so that you can start sending messages to them. The next stage is getting interest. So now what you want to do is you want to write a blog post and then promote it on your website and on your Facebook page and add a free relevant download within or below the blog post. You can also add an exit pop-up of the download if they did not download the freebie before leaving. So there's many ways that you can generate that interest by simply first getting attention, by getting them to like the page, and then possibly running a boosted post campaign for the blog post itself, and then getting them to your website. Next, you want to spark desire. So what you do here is you retarget the people who visited your article or downloaded your freebie to another article that engages their desire. So for example, You could have the best automation apps for small business, that sort of article. And then you add a link to your pricing page in the blog post when you make that recommendation that you are one of the best automation apps as well. So once you've kind of gotten people intrigued and then sparking their desire and you get them to the pricing page, this is where you start generating and encouraging the action. So what you do in a Facebook campaign is you retarget those people who visited your pricing page with an enticing introduction offer to your special offer landing page. So do you see how all of that came round? Like you took them from not knowing who you are, and then you generate the interest, and then you spark some desire, and then you encourage the action. It's a very seamless, easy way, just using Facebook ads, to run an AIDA campaign. All right, so now that you're familiar with all the AIDA stages, I want you to ask yourself some key questions and start taking action. How do we make our buyers more aware of our products and services? How are you going to get them interested? And then once you've done that, you want to then make your product desirable. So you want to ask yourself, what makes our product or service desirable? If you don't know the answer to this, then maybe you want to do some surveys or ask your current clients on what they think about what makes your product or service desirable. And last but not least, you really want to ask yourself, what are the calls to actions and where should we place them? So now that you know what AIDA is, let's start mapping your content to AIDA, to its vehicle and intention. Go to the project and resources section of this class and open your Mapping Your Content mind map and list what content you can create for each stage of your AIDA sales funnel from the examples I will share in this lesson. But just before we start, I want to add that this step is to help you identify the content format, whilst the next lesson will help you craft your content. So don't worry if you don't have a fully formed content idea at this stage. This will be covered in the next lesson. All right, so if you're ready, let's get started. So for the awareness stage, this is the problem or needs recognition stage. Customers are experiencing pain points, but haven't quite recognized the specific problem. You create content to draw attention to the need. Remember, at this point, you're probably asking, how do we make buyers aware of our products or services? Whereas in this stage, the consumer is asking, what is it? So at this stage, the buyer is doing research to clearly understand and identify their problem themselves. General educational content is important at this stage. You want to ask, what problem are they likely trying to solve and what are the symptoms that are alerting them of this problem? And then you could also ask what information will help them to identify the problem they have that our product or service is designed to solve. Some of the content format examples for this awareness stage can be articles, advertisements, webinars, podcasts, paid search, or even landing pages. Some specific examples that you could refer to is like if you sell a SaaS product and pay for ads on a podcast with a SaaS audience. That's one example. Here's another example for you. You sell beauty products and partner with an influencer to post about it. Another example of this is you sell plastic surgery services and you pay for radio ads to promote it to people in your geography. So as you can see, all these contents is to bring awareness to people of your products and services. So start thinking about how you can create awareness with your audience. The next stage is interest. This is the stage at which your customers are actively seeking or interested in information to help them solve their problem. As they move through the sales funnels from recognizing or drawing attention to the problem, their interest is sparked by a solution. They need the information to move into the next phase. So the question you need to be asking here is, how can our content help our target audience to narrow down their options? Some of the content format examples for the interest stage is web content, newsletters, social media, blogs, and email campaigns. So a specific example of the interest stage content could be creating content for broader top of the funnel keyword type of content. So this could be like if you create a YouTube channel that focuses on general how to or what is, and other educational topics. You could also produce social media content that informs users of basic pain points around your products or services. So now I really want you to think about how you can implement this into your services or your products. How can you generate content that generates interest? Have a think about it and write it down on your mind map. Now let's move on to the desire stage. Here, customers have moved from attention or recognition of the problem through information gathering and interest. Now they have the desire for a solution, right? So they have to evaluate alternatives, and your job through content creation is to spark a desire for your solution. You must convince them as they examine various solutions to their problem that your solution is the right one for them. The question that you need to ask at this stage is, how does your product or service features and benefits fulfill the prospect's needs and make their lives better? Some of the content format examples for this stage is you could possibly write white papers, create brochures, write ebooks, or create microsites that are, directing a solution for a specific problem. So let's do an example here where you pretend that maybe you're doing marketing for the company FreshBooks. If you don't know FreshBooks is an accounting software. And in this case, you might be able to create content for keywords that demonstrate purchase intent, like best accounting software for small businesses. And then next, you can bid for branded competitor keywords like QuickBooks, which is obviously FreshBooks' competitor. Next, you can create retargeting ads for people who already visited the pricing page. Is this starting to sound familiar to you? This is kind of like the same pattern that we used when we created the simple Facebook advertising campaign, right? So the next stage is to then optimize the pricing page by building links to it and internal linking. And then you could send out surveys to current customers and ask all happy and loyal customers to leave reviews. As you know, testimonials are really powerful. And if people see good testimonials or positive testimonials, they're more likely to then get to the next stage, which is take action. So in the action stage, it's time for your customers to make the purchase decision. Make it easy for them to say yes to your solution. Have a strong call to action in your copy and a simple path to follow to complete the sale. The easier you make it for people to take action, the more sales you generate through your sales funnel. Some of the content format examples here at the action stage could be case studies, data sheets, testimonials, and e-learning. And some specific examples that you could really add to strengthen your position here is adding a 30-day money-back guarantee. You could also add some urgency by offering a free trial or $1 trial to prove intent, or you could also offer a pay-by-performance pricing model. Another idea is to add customer support chat for last-minute objections. Better yet, add an FAQ section made up of last-minute objections and add reviews around your purchase page. Alright, so now it's time to go back to your mapping your content mind map and complete the list of what content you can create for each stage of your AIDA sales funnel. And feel free to share it in the project gallery. I will provide feedback and answer any questions if you have any. When crafting your content for all the stages of the sales funnel, you should always qualify your content to ensure it's fit for purpose. To achieve this, I will share the tips and tricks of the industry to craft the best possible content for your sales funnel. Tip number 1 is, what topic should you choose? The hardest thing when facing a blank sheet is knowing where to start. And for most marketers, this is where some can already hit a brick wall. Unless you have a pretty good idea based around past data, or you have sent out a survey to your target audience, you're going to have to do some secondary research to get started. So let's jump into my laptop and I'll show you exactly how you can do that. For the purpose of this lesson, I'm going to use the example that you're a physical therapist and you know that the most common people that come to see you are runners who have plantar fasciitis or first responders with work-related back injuries. So let's go with this knowledge and start doing some research on what topics you should choose. The first website I'm going to show you here is called souvle.com or souvle.com. So as you already know the type of people that usually come to get your service, all you have to do now is put in, say, back pain into this website. As you see here, there's so many options available to you, and these are all the search results from Wikipedia, Google, Amazon, Yahoo, Bing, YouTube, and answers.com, all on one page. You see here, there's back pain relief exercises on YouTube, back pain COVID keyword. So, you might not have thought of that. Some people experience back pain because of COVID. You can see here immediately just from this website, you're picking up on a lot of different keywords that you could potentially use later on in your research. So what we're going to do is we're going to just copy and paste some of these keywords into a sticky note or just write it down. I think just from this page here, I can see that back pain during pregnancy is probably one that will be really popular. That's the back pain issue. Now we want to do a search on plantar fasciitis. So let's just copy that and then put it into the search. And immediately you see there's so many different search results that you could jot down the keywords here for your research. I'm thinking somebody at this stage is probably in real pain and they're also looking for surgery options. So let's put that down to plantar fasciitis surgery. What I'm thinking is potentially because you're a physical therapist, you might be able to offer some advice on actually not opting for the surgery and then instead offering your services. So that could potentially be an option too. Now that we've done research on this website, let's go to the next stage. We take the keywords that we just found and go to another website called Answer the Public. So on this website, all you have to do is put in all those keywords that you have found. So let's say back pain relief. I'm just going to copy and paste that from my sticky note before, and I'm just going to do a search. And as you can see here immediately, wow, there's a ton of questions around back pain relief. What is the best back pain relief for lower back? So that's getting more kind of specific around the area of the back that hurts. Lower back, that could be interesting. What to put on your back for back pain? So that's another question that might be coming helpful. So as you can see here, as you're doing this, you're beginning to understand the state of mind of your potential clients here. And you can already see what sort of content you can create to help them. So another website that's really useful in this research process is a website called BuzzSumo. This actually lists out the number of shares an article gets. So as you put in the keyword, you'll see all the popular articles, and then you'll see how popular it is on social media by the number of shares they get. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put back pain during pregnancy in the search here in BuzzSumo. Let's see what we come up with. All right, so immediately you can already see a ton of articles, like 541 shares on this chiropractic care for low back and pelvic pain during pregnancy. So already you're drilling down on the content. And here's another one that it could spark some ideas. Core strength training during pregnancy for female with low back pain. So as you can see here, the more research you do with using these tools that give you that extra information on the popularity and what people are asking, you can start getting some ideas on what you can write for your content. This is especially useful for the awareness stage because you want people to kind of find you when they're in this stage of where they're trying to find a solution to their problem. And all this content research is helping you to get into that mindset. I see it as a little bit like being a mind reader, and you kind of get to tap into what they're thinking, what questions they're asking, and what solutions they're looking for. So that's where BuzzSumo is really, really powerful. The next tool that you can also use is to check for podcasts in your industry on a website called Listen Notes. So Listen Notes lists all the podcasts in the world that you can find, and all you have to do is basically put in the keywords. So here, because it's podcast, it's a little bit more broader usually. I'm just going to put the keyword back pain and see what comes up. So as you can see here, There's a ton of podcasts on back pain. There's understanding low back pain diagnosis. So people want to understand what are the symptoms possibly. Here's another one saying returning to work with back pain. I mean, you wouldn't have thought that, but this possibly relates to one of our target audience, which was first responders who have back pain injury. So this might be something that's relevant to them. But this is a really great idea for a content that you probably didn't even think about. As you can see here, it's quite shocking to me, is meditation for back pain relief. I mean, you would have never thought that would be a thing. But this is what happens when you do research. You realize all the options people are looking for. And you could also try to see if you do have any insight into that area of content, then you could also provide a solution and some content around this area to help your target audience. So if you wanted to take this research further, I would also recommend that you start checking online communities like Reddit and Quora, because they could also come up with a ton of ideas and a ton of things that you would have never thought of, especially Quora. I love Quora because what it does is it lists all the questions people have. This is, of course, if you have time to do a lot of research, but if you don't, I think with the websites that I provided to you before, that is sufficient enough to get you started. So now it's time for tip number 2, how to easily find keywords for your SEO. This part is really important, and it's where most marketers stumble. So let's jump into my laptop here, and then we'll start looking at how you can find keywords for SEO. So first, all you have to do is just go into Google and then write the keywords that you have written down before. We're kind of try and keep on the back pain during pregnancy topic. Let's see what comes up there. So if you put that in, what I want you to pay attention to is the suggestions that come up. So don't press enter at this moment. Just look at this list here right now. It says back pain during pregnancy, 3rd trimester. Back pain during pregnancy, 1st trimester. Back pain during pregnancy, 2nd trimester. So as you can see, it could be a good keyword to target specific trimesters because people are searching based on where they are on their journey. So that could be less competition for you when you're more specific on the timeline of the pregnancy itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open my sticky note, and then I'm going to just note that down so we could use it later. So it's important that you list them down in the order that you found them, because then you'll know the importance of which trimester comes first in terms of popularity. So now what I want you to do is press enter, and then let's look at the results. Instead of looking at the results on the top, I want you to scroll all the way down now. So on the bottom of the Google results, there is a section called related searches. And as you can see here, there's long tail keywords, and these are really useful for us because long tail keywords are a lot easier to rank than just say back pain. I mean, something like that is going to be really hard and more expensive to run ads on. So for long tail keywords like this, you see how to relieve back pain during pregnancy. That's a long tail keyword. Upper back pain during pregnancy. That's another long tail keyword. When should I worry about back pain in pregnancy? I guess this is because somebody had heard that they're going to experience back pain. So therefore they want to know when they should expect it. So these are all interesting insights to take on. And what you should do is just take note of it and then copy it into your document. So I'm just going to do that myself here. Once you have it all, then your research for this section will be done. Repeat the same process on other search engines like YouTube, Bing, and Amazon. And then just go through the same process and then jot the keywords down that is suggested by the search engines. Now that we have a good idea what topic you want to create and what are the keywords for SEO, now it's time to see whether or not these are viable topics to pursue by scoring those ideas to see if they qualify as good content to generate leads and sales. So this is Ahrefs' website, and this is the Keyword Explorer. So what I want you to do now is just put in the main keyword that we were using for the back pain during pregnancy here. And then add one more keyword that will support it. So let's say back pain during third trimester, because that was one of the popular ones suggested by Google. You choose the country you're in, or the country that you want to target or rank for this keyword, and then click the search button. There's not a lot of options here, so maybe we've kind of narrowed it down too niche. So now let's just try and go back and then just put in back pain and let's see what comes up. And then click search and then click matching terms. And in this section, you want to click phrase match here. Now you can see a ton of sort of options come up. Now you're overwhelmed. So what I want you to do here is you go here to the keyword difficulty, and then you put in a maximum of 15. So this is like the difficulty of the keyword, you know, how difficult it is to rank, and you just click apply. So we don't want it to be too difficult because we want to be able to rank for it. The next thing you see is now you have about 10,000 keywords. That's still quite a lot of volume. So what you want to do is you want to narrow it down even further. So click on volume here and then put the minimum requirements as 400 and then click apply. So now you have a more manageable amount of keywords here. So that's 351 keywords. And now you could really start to see some useful options for you to target. Here's a great one. So this one says best mattress topper for back pain. So this could apply for people who are pregnant and people who aren't pregnant as well. So let's just have a look at the SERP here. The keyword difficulty here is 15, so that's not that bad. So what you want to do is when you're looking at the search result, you want to go through that score content idea that I was talking about. You want to score them. So the first thing you want to ask yourself when you're doing this is, will someone searching for this keyword be interested in my product or service? In order to score them, you assign the score of 3 if your product is an irreplaceable solution for the problem. If your product helps quite a bit, but it's not essential to solving the problem, you give them a score of 2. And if your product can only be mentioned fleetingly, more like a brand awareness sort of thing, then you just assign them 1. For everything else, you just assign them 0. That means that it doesn't meet the requirements for you and your product. So that means that that's not a good topic for you to cover, or it's probably a bit too competitive for you to cover. So what you want to do next is basically ask that question again, the one that I just mentioned. Will someone searching for this keyword be interested in my product or service? And then based on the scoring that I mentioned earlier, give it a score. So if you go back here, a lot of these articles say things like 11 best mattress toppers for back pain, best mattress topper for back pain 2002. And you can already see their list articles. People who are searching for this will indeed be interested in your product because they have that problem of their back pain and they want to be more comfortable. So having them seeing you as a physical therapist could be the irreplaceable solution for the problem. I immediately see this as content that could be scored as 3 for that product. So it's an irreplaceable solution for the problem. So that's a good option here. So we're just going to note that down, that this is a content idea that you could potentially use. The next scoring question that you should ask yourself is, what would the searcher be looking for when searching for this query? So what is their search intent? Obviously, they just want to be more comfortable. So that is definitely something that matches the scoring. And then we could make sure that we give the score. And again, it kind of fits our product as well. We are still, it gets the same irreplaceable solution for the problem. We give them a 3. It's still a good choice. Now we've come to the last scoring that we want for this content. What is the traffic potential? So how much traffic can I get if I rank for the top 3 in this keyword? So if we go back here, we look at all the kind of traffic. The traffic for this keyword gets about 11,000. So that's a really good volume to get for if we are able to rank for this. So that, I would say, kind of encapsulates the whole scoring process and says, you got 3 on all counts. So that's really a good option for you to move forward with. So now that we've run through all the checks and balances, we know for sure that these topics and keywords will definitely generate the traffic that we need. We're going to move on to tip number 4, which is using a really cool tool called phrase.io to create your SEO optimized content. So if I create a new document, I'm just going to put in one of the keywords here. We kind of decided that the best mattress topper was a good article to go for. So we'll go best mattress toppers for back pain. And that is our long tail keyword. And for phrase.io, long tail keywords do work better than just, those big keywords that like back pain that's harder to rank for. So once you put that in the target search query, you just click create document. And this is where the magic happens, guys. So all you have to do is once the document is open, click let's go. And then it will start loading all the top articles for best mattress toppers for back pain. And what we're going to do from there is we're going to automate a brief that you can give to your writer to write a high ranking article that will get you ranked really high on Google just based on these artificial intelligence the tool uses to find all the keywords that you need for this article. And it even tells you how many words you need to write for the article. That's how amazing it is and how helpful it is. So all you need to do to get to this stage is click brief and then click automate brief right here. Click select all and insert brief into editor. You're going to be wondering what you did before you discovered this tool once you've started using it. It also lists down all the top questions around the world that people ask around this topic. So these questions could easily become one of the headers in this article. And you could also see all the kind of top 20 topics related to this particular keyword. And you could get the topic clusters as well. And look here, I think this is one of the coolest things because people always ask me, how long should this article be? This tells you the exact word count, 2,983 words. So, I mean, you can't get any more specific than that. Obviously, you don't have to stick with its exact number, but roughly it's about 3,000 words. And that's what's needed if you want to rank for this particular keyword. As you can see, guys, like once you score all the content, you know that the content will work. All you need to do is to actually create it. And in order to create it, you need to create a brief that kind of lists down all those kind of keywords that you've pulled together. And you could even add on to this based on, all the keywords that you found through your research. You can add it here as well. They even give you the top headers from all the top articles that was found on the first page of Google. I mean, how amazing is that? You get to see what are the headers that are used by all the top articles that rank on the first page of Google. And, you could just easily use the same ones and just rewrite it to fit your, to make sure that it's not exactly the same, but it has the same kind of content that lives within those headers. If you follow this method and then you just continue using the same, follow through all the same steps, this is going to become really easy once you do it 2 or 3 times. And it becomes something that you could keep in your arsenal and then you could share with your team. You won't be second guessing yourself the next time you're crafting your content. You know that this content will work. People will find you and there is demand for that content as well. And you'll be getting a good amount of traffic from it as well. And this is all organic traffic, guys. I mean, who doesn't want free organic traffic? It's like the thing that every marketer aspires to do or every content creator wants to achieve. They want to get organic traffic. They don't want to pay for it. So this is the best way that I can show you that you can narrow down the topic, then get the right keywords for SEO, and then craft that content quite easily and quickly as well. So now it's time to take action. In the project resources, you will find a template to list down all the scores for all your content ideas. Feel free to add your content score ideas here. Most times, marketers will put a lot of effort into making amazing content, but then they stumble at the last hurdle, which is where they forget to start promoting their content. So the first idea for you to promote your content is to create content roundups. And here you see an example where it's an article about 16 cycling bloggers tell you why you should start to ride your bike now. What they do is they get a quote from all these bloggers and then they put it into one article. And that is what a content roundup is. You could even add your own article to this particular article yourself, or you could reach out to other companies and add your article to their roundup. Another way is to promote your content in your newsletter. So as you can see here, here's a newsletter and it's just promoting the latest content that you have just published. Another idea is to use boosted Facebook posts to people who already visited your website. So you're retargeting people who have visited your website and then letting them know in a way that you have a new article that they might be interested in. And as you can see here, this is how you boost a post. You just click the boost here once you're in your ad manager of your page, and then you just literally send it to your audience. The next thing is to use push notifications on your website using tools like subscribers. As you can see here, what happens is when people come to your website, if you have this push notification tool installed on your website, it will pop up and say, hey, there's a new article that you might be interested in, and you could design this any way you like. So what you can do is to be really intentional with this is you only have the pop-up come up when somebody is reading about an article, say it's an old article that's related to the content of your new article. So therefore, they're not like being promoted with content that's irrelevant, but instead being given another piece of content that's relevant to the one they're currently reading. Another way is to use influencer marketing. This way, you just reach out to people who have influence over your market and your target audience, and then you ask them to share your article with their audience. Obviously, you can't just reach out randomly cold to an influencer. They're obviously always bombarded with emails almost every day asking people to do the same things. So it's important that you've already built a relationship with the influencer so it's not awkward and it's more of a reciprocal sort of relationship where they might ask you to promote their content, but you could also ask them to promote their content. So just make sure that there is that kind of reciprocity there and that you're not just annoying people by asking random people and random influencers to promote your content. Another way to promote your content is podcast interviews. So this could go two ways. You could either be a podcaster yourself and you promote your new content on your own podcast, or you can become a guest on someone else's podcast and promote your content when you've been interviewed by another podcaster. So that's another idea if you're into the whole podcasting world yourself. This one is like not a lot of people would do, but I would say if you've been creating content and you create a lot of content in terms of volume, this is something worth doing. You should start translating your content. Translating your content means that you'll have further reach beyond like just the English language. Say you could translate to Spanish, or you could translate to Chinese, or you could translate to any other language, and that will encourage people who speak a different language to discover your content. You just tap into a whole different market when you using a different language, but with the same content. So if it's something that you can do and you have the resources to do that, I definitely recommend this. Another way to promote it is to use social videos. So as you know, social media is a really powerful tool. All you have to do is really easy. You just create a snippet, which is like a summary of your content. Could be 15, 30 seconds, the highlights of your content, and then post that social video to your social media accounts. And that's just another way to get people to discover your content. I know a lot of YouTubers do this as well. Like they create a YouTube video and then what they do is they create a really short snippet or like a teaser of their video and put it on Instagram or on TikTok. And then they put a link inside their reels or their Instagram stories. And then that will take people to the actual YouTube video, which is the longer form content. So there's another idea where you could promote your content. Another way is the paid way. It's called direct marketing, and you could use things like Reddit, Taboola, and Pinterest. So another one that's actually come up, becoming more popular is TikTok. TikTok actually has an advertising arm to the business and is becoming more and more popular. So if you're into doing those type of really snappy, cool, attention-grabbing sort of videos that are short and kind of fun to watch, then this could be a way for you to promote your content. Another way to promote content is using niche or niche, depending on where you are, community promotions, places like Discord or Reddit. You could either post the links to the article inside, one of the Reddit subreddits, or usually I would say get someone else to post it, because that's always more powerful. If you post it, it's a little bit too promoty. People might not be interested because they know you're promoting your business. But what's great if you have a network of people that support you and your brand, then encourage them to share it instead. And that's a much more powerful way to promote your content on sort of, these niche community type of websites or platforms. And the last one that I want to share with you is something as well that I feel a lot of marketers don't actually do, which is promote on Slack groups. There's a lot of private professional communities on Slack groups, and they're really, really popular, and they have a really engaged community. So if you manage to find one that fits your brand and somewhere where you have actually become part of that community, you've been kind of adding your own thoughts and your own kind of helping other people in the community, and not just promoting your content. That's a good place to go when you've already become part of the community itself. That's just some of the ideas I have on promoting your content. I'm sure there's a ton more. So now what I want you to do is to choose one of these ideas and then apply it to how you're promoting your content. So now is a great time to reflect on everything you wrote in your mind map. Do any of these surprise you? Do you now have more clarity in your content marketing funnel? To recap, here are the steps of the time-tested content marketing formula for your sales funnel. Step 1 is to use the AIDA model. Step 2 is to map your content to your sales funnel. Step 3 is to craft your content for success. And lastly, step 4, promote your content. I hope this content marketing formula will help you to simplify and generate real results for you.